So now we're going to drill down a bit and evaluate the factors that influence those employment opportunities that you have before you, right? So there are different influences, social influences, demographic trends, etc. Where are you at in your life? Are you a single or working parent? What is the focus? What is it you want that job to fulfill, if you will? Do you want more leisure time, more interest in, that, so you're dividing up your day, so there's another expression in economics that your day is divided up between, if it comes right down to it, to work and leisure. So work is work and leisure is everything that's not work, all right? So we have longer, that's our leisure time, how we want to fill that space, fill that time, how important it is to us. And it is important, keep that in mind, because there are only so many hours in a day. Longer lifespans, things that we want to do, to do more traveling, and all the other kind of things that come along with it. Employment training, meaning there's demand out there for different jobs, such as teachers and corporate trainers and other related careers. So again, focusing on this job again. The geographic trends, meaning that where your jobs are located, the salary, cost of living, how much that your income will actually will pay for. So if you're earning $100,000 a year, it sounds like a lot of money, but if you're living in New York or Los Angeles or Chicago or some other major urban area, that is not going to go as far as it will in a more of a rural setting or a suburban setting, if you will, where the cost might be a bit lower, okay? So there are different things that we can measure. And so what we do is there are indexes out there, and the indexes are pretty straightforward. So for example, a person earning $30,000 in Nebraska, number should be higher than that, but we'll leave it at that. You would need to earn closer to $40,000 in Chicago to have a comparable living. So again, this is all based on the indexes. There's a geographic buying power formula that are out there, that are on the internet. You can find they're very, very straightforward. So, for example, so that again, that $30,000 living, working in Omaha, Nebraska, would go much further than the $30,000 in Chicago. In order to have comparable or somewhat comparable lifestyle, she'd need an additional $10,000 a year to kind of get by in Chicago, is kind of the takeaway with this. So unfortunately, in your work life, if you will, there are going to be economic factors that impact your job. You may end up losing your job as a result. Nothing to do with your own performance. It may have to do with the economic conditions where you're laid off from a job, for example. At any rate, so career opportunities then were affected by high interest rates or price increases, decreased global demand for goods and services, and we encounter these all the time. So for example, high interest rate would reduce employment in housing related industries. So if you're a real estate agent and interest rates go up, mortgage rates go up, it's going to be more difficult to find people to buy these homes. Industry trends, things are changing all the time, for sure, and if you're kind of caught in a situation where the company that you're working for is not keeping up with times, it can be detrimental to you, of course. So service industries we're becoming much more of a service economy. There are lots of employment potential there. IT, of course, that's ongoing. Anything that is associated with that is, there's higher income potential, if you will, and not just IT, but just again, think about it in terms of the STEM, science, technology, engineering, medicine, or mathematics. I forget which one the M is for, but anyway, healthcare is people are aging, needing more health care, and et cetera, environmental services, business services, social, the list goes on and on and on. And of course, we include financial services in there as well if you wanted to opt for something along those lines. So there are a lot of factors that are constantly out there, based on, again, economic conditions and, where the demand is at for your areas of interest in terms of employment are concerned. So again, there's no real secret to this other than it is a process. All of these things are processes. So when you're looking for jobs, you're trying to find that experience, et cetera, there's a process that's involved, and the process is pretty straightforward. So the strategies employed, et cetera, developing your contacts, developing your organizational skills. Um, Experience helps obtain employment, obtain career skills. So what do we do? Developing contacts, what does that mean? Um, uh, Being out there on LinkedIn, for example, or some other social media site that's more business oriented, talking to people. If you wanted to be an accountant, for example, walk into a CPA firm and mention that you would like to be an accountant, and they may be able to kind of provide you with some insight, and you develop your organizational skills toward that end, meaning that you want to always focus on, trying to figure out what it is you'd like to do and find out what's entailed in that, meaning you don't know until you kind of really dig into these things. And this is where that organizational skills, no matter what you do, is going to come, it's going to be very, very helpful for you. So any experience that you can obtain in employment, I've said this on numerous occasions, that there's never been a job I've had that I haven't learned something from. Whether that's good, bad, doesn't matter. You learn something from any kind of employment that you have. And you also want to focus your efforts on obtaining career skills in the area that you want to pursue, right? So there are numerous sources of information for career development and so on and so forth that are out there. A lot of, if you say, for example, you graduate from a college or whatnot, there's always that resource going back to that college or to that university. Libraries, public libraries are a great resource. They've changed significantly, but meaning that it's a great resource, and being able to focus your efforts. Librarians are awesome. They can provide you with a great deal of insight in like what it is if you want to look for some specific areas so far as job searches and so on and so forth are concerned. Of course, online is always out there. And the other one that's often overlooked are personal contacts. Talk to your neighbors. You'd be surprised. Contacting former teachers and always are, if you, this is one thing I always recommend to people, is that if you're working at a place right now, and it's not to say that you want to leave, but see if you can secure a reference from that person, even right at this moment. Just as kind of a safeguard, kind of going forward. It doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. You're not looking for a job necessarily, but it's nice to have that in your pocket, some sort of reference from your current employer, or past employers are fine too, of course. So networking is very, very important. Again, talking to people, et cetera. So the first thing of note here would be this: preparing and practicing a 30-second summary, the elevator speech. Summary of your abilities and your experience, something to kind of highlight who you are, to give a person an idea, some insight, because you're trying to get their attention, right? Volunteering for committees and events, professional organizations. These are always very, very helpful for resume fillers. I hate to put it that way, but it's true. And on top of that, you might actually learn something, which is a plus, 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 right? Asking people questions about jobs, et cetera. It's always good. Informational interviews, these are always very good when you're what I mentioned before about if you want to be an accountant, go to a CPA firm and see if you can talk to somebody about these things. Different job opportunities are out there. There are opportunities aplenty out there. It's hard to secure the jobs, but there are still jobs that are out there, and you can find, where your skills gaps might be, or where your, so something that you could focus more on if you're missing something, or you may be the right fit for the job, meaning that, identifying those opportunities, getting out there and seeing what you can come up with, and don't shy away from going to different career fairs, etc. So when you're applying for employment, make sure that you've got your resume. Every job that you apply for, you should use a different resume, meaning that you should make sure that your resume kind of fits with that job. And it's as hard to do, but today it's much easier than it was in the past, especially with artificial intelligence being available to you. Cover letters, again, should be accompany that resume, with that job. And even if they don't want one, if they say, even if they don't tell you to submit a resume, unless they tell you not to submit to submit a cover letter, then you typically want to do a cover letter because that kind of adds to your resume. The resume is just a hit list of what you're about. The cover letter kind of ties you directly to that job that's in question. All these things are good to keep in mind, right? So we kind of pass this by, but you have a job position, okay? So you're meaning that you're accepting an employment position for a job. You want to make sure that job is suitable for you. This is something that you make sure the environment is good, the corporate culture fits, and do as much research as you can. And you want to be looking at, what the salary is, and the actual, not just the salary, but the, how shall I put it, the actual cost of accepting that job. If it's a 50-mile commute, does the, the 10% wage increase, does it justify it? For example, does that employment opportunity, does it meet your other needs so far as your benefits are concerned, your non-salary benefits, child care, health care, health insurance, and looking at all the benefits that are associated with it. It's very important to kind of consider all of these things. So this is, just because someone wants to hire you doesn't mean that you jump right in. You don't respond immediately, yes, I want the job. You want to know more about what that company has to offer, right? So all these things are very important. So, things, for example, when we're looking at these things, we want to look at the financial and legal concerns related to obtaining that employment. So if there are tax benefits, if you will, so for example, they may offer you a life insurance policy that would be non-taxable, meaning that, so if you were to go out there and secure the same policy yourself, it would be with after-tax dollars, whereas your company might offer you a group plan where of course, you're not paying taxes on it. So this is something, all these little things, these little perks that are out there that that could be beneficial to you. So these are all things to kind of keep in mind. That these non-taxed benefits, if you will, that could add up. If you get a company car, for example, something like that, along those lines, rather than driving your own vehicle. Beyond that, of course, the legal aspect of it is that there are employee rights. The employee has the rights to, during the entire process, you can't ask someone if you're pregnant, for example. There are just various things that are part and parcel of a job, in terms of unemployment insurance that has to be paid for by the employer, Social Security kick in, workers' compensation. All these things are part and parcel of most jobs that are out there. Okay.